How's it going, people? Welcome back to another episode of the CG podcast. We are here, of course. Happy Monday to everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone, as well. Obviously, we are here talking everything Arsenal. Great win, man. Absolutely super win, obviously, on the weekend. Battering Palace, smashing them, owning them 2 times in space of a couple of days, really. Of course, beating them in the Carabao Cup and then batting them 5-1 away at Selhurst Park in the Premier League. But then we always get something bad happen. Saka, obviously, we saw the news today. He's going to be out for quite a while, people. We'll talk about that first, get the negatives out of the way. And then we'll talk about, Arsenal overall performance, then Ipswich coming up as well. But we've got Rory and Seb with us. Dom's going to be joining us as well. But yeah, guys, how you doing? You all good?
Well, apart from, splitting my toe, I'm doing okay.
Oh, how did that happen, man? How did you split your toe, Rory?
Cutting my toenails.
Oh, my days.
Because my toe's that big, I had to use a bum plaster,
That's mad. That is mad. But Seb, how are you, mate? You all good? Oh, he's muted. Shit. Hold on. Hold on. Oh. Seb, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, there he is. Yeah. How you doing, man? You all good?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. Yeah. Well, apart from the news today, yeah. But I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, bro. Honestly, it's good to have you back on the pod as well, man. Obviously, it's always good to have you there. As I said, guys, Don will be joining us. I think Cooper might join us as well later on when he gets a chance. So we still have a few of our guests on here as well. But yeah, big up the chat as well. Make sure you guys get your thoughts in down below as well. Let me know about everything. Any questions you got for us as well? You want to ask the panel about anything? Put them in the chat and we'll read them out. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's start with the negative side of things first. Bukayo Saka, our star man, injured. We got the news today. Arteta, Rory in his press conference coming out and saying that it doesn't look good. He's going to be out for a few weeks. Apparently, he's torn his hamstring. Now, I'm hearing from, obviously, Team News and Six, I know, so pretty reliable source that, obviously, he's going to be out for quite a while, and that's going to be a few weeks. They're saying 8 weeks, apparently. But he's also said that he says that he's going to be out until February, March time, people, which is mad. And then we also heard the news today about Sterling with a knee injury. January window, people, we have to go and sign the winner. 100% we have to go. There's no, excuses about it. We have to sign the winner now. Obviously, we're missing Saka. Let's get your initial reaction. I'm going to start. I'll come to you first, Seb, mate. Saka out injured, obviously. Firstly, thoughts on this and, what needs to be done now in terms of getting a replacement in?
Look, the fact is, are we overly surprised? Because how many times have we said, time and time again, he's going to get burnt out, he's been run into the ground? How many times? But what they never do is they never go out and actually get the person in that can help him and provide backup to him and provide competition for him to stop him from being run into the ground like this. And don't tell me Sterling was that guy, because he clearly ain't. And look, he's down as well. I'm like, this was always coming. It was always coming. But all they do every summer is neglect that position, time and time and time again. And then look what's happened. Oh, great, Saka's gone. It was going to come because the amount of games we got this year, we got loads. We got 2 games a week all through January. He's not going to play all through January, which is going to be a testing month. We had 2 games a week all through December, most of November. You literally don't get any rest now. But he's had to play literally every single minute. And we always said, I always knew, one day this guy is going to get a big injury. And yes, as much as it was bad luck as enough, you're meant to have cover so you prepare for situations like this. Because every single time we've had to run him into the ground, time and time again. And yes, if they're your best player, you want to play them as much as often. But he's still only 23. He's still trying to develop with everyone around him. But he's been run into the ground, left, right, and centre. And even when he's half injured, because he was half injured, because when we missed him against Bournemouth and Shakhtar Donetsk, we saw the effects.
Yeah.
Like, they don't prepare. And this is when I get really mad when people honestly tell me that that was a successful summer window. It weren't. Every single time. And this is where all these things come back to. And this is why I have to bring it up time and time again. Especially when people are rating it 6, 7, 8 out of 10. It's not. It was nothing but a 1, 2. And I stand by that. Because we brought in players who were just not good enough or who we didn't need. We didn't actually buy anyone to actually make us kick on. Because we're still no closer to where we were to Liverpool than we were at the start of the international break, no matter how we've kicked on. And then people you say, oh, but we've had bad luck with injuries. Yes, we probably have, but this is why you build a squad. You go and buy players to adapt to these situations. Real Madrid and Man City have players on their bench that they can bring on so they can adapt to situations to those. Because they have players on their bench who are of similar quality or if not better. None of this, oh, but if you get him in, what happens to so? No. That's not how you win titles. You win titles, you have adequate cover and adequate backup. And we've not had that. And don't tell me Raheem Sterling is that guy, because he's not. Because this manager clearly didn't want him. He didn't want him. And he's even openly come out and said at the start of the window, I don't want Sterling. And then they said, oh, well, let's go and do it towards the end. But then other players, left, right, and centre, were available and moving. Other players, left, right, and centre. If we had some in, it wouldn't matter. Then we wouldn't have to run to get him down to the ground. And then look. But no doubt this is going to be a big blow now. Because now I don't see how we can win this league. I don't. And especially after we're just finding a little bit of rhythm. Now I don't see how we do it. You don't win leagues without your best players. But this comes back to the neglectance of this management in the summer. This is what it comes down to. It really does. I wonder why we moan all the time. And we see, oh, but what's his name's gone. Odegaard went. You saw how much that was a miss. So the manager's is going to have to find his way. And in January, I mean it, for Kroenkes, you better back him. You better do that because it's a must buy. We can't loan anyone now because we've already borrowed Norbert Neto and Sterling, so we have to buy. And there's some wingers out here. Leroy Sané out there, Lookman possibly out there, Chunya from Wolves, and maybe I know people don't want Rashford, but we now have to consider it. I don't want him. It has to be a consideration. Someone else I mentioned.
Burmo.
Yeah, Burmo. Oh, I take him.
Semenyo.
Yes. I don't think he's gettable because he just signed a 5-year contract. But still, if this club are really ambitious and actually really want to kick on and win the trophies this season, then go and do business in January. Because what we got now, especially without Saka, ain't going to win us. And then Mikel Arteta going in saying, oh, we went into the season with one of the thinnest squads in the Premier League. Oh. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? This is why you need a squad, because we had this many games. And this honestly does not shock me, because now he's out for both our cup games, the Spurs North London derby, the FA Cup tie against Man United, the remaining 2 Champions League games, the 2 back-to-back away games against Brentford and Brighton. These are big games. And possibly Man City at the start of February. Because a torn hamstring takes at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So, sorry, they definitely have to look at themselves. The club, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
This is down to their neglectance. This is all on you. It was always down to neglectance.
Yeah, no, I said, but 100% get the frustration there, man.
Oh, it's so annoying.
I just want to quickly introduce. We've got Dom with us and Krupa. How you guys doing? You all good?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, not too
Dom?
bad, mate. Trying to get my breath back after playing. I'm getting
How
too
was
old
it,
for
man?
this.
How was
Nah,
it?
Got beaten 4-0, but you know they were all about 20, and we're not.
There we go. There we go.
That's a pain in the ass, isn't it? Your body's telling you you're 17, 18 years old, and then in reality, you're like, man, I should have stopped running about 20 minutes ago.
There was one guy got the run on me, and I went for him toe to toe, but he already had a yard head start. I was like, I kept up with him, but I couldn't get back that yard. I was like 10 years ago, maybe.
I wish I had one of them.
Then you had your thighs
Yeah.
would be killing you. I don't know if you guys have lifted, like weights and stuff like that, but there's always that. I don't know. We call it falter poops here. Like,
All right.
you do your legs so you're doing your legs so much that you can't walk the next day. So when you go to poop and sit down, you're just falling on the toilet because your legs are giving out on you.
Mate, I don't know what lifting weights is. I'm 110 pounds wet.
Nah, big up, guys. Listen, we were just starting with Saka's injury. Obviously, we saw the news today. I mean, I'm sure you've heard Seb's amazing, sort of speech he gave there. Very frustrating, Seb, that was. But yeah, I'll come to you next, Rory, man. Obviously, we saw the news today about Saka injured. Firstly, what's your thoughts on him being injured, and what needs to be done in your opinion for us to obviously address this?
Gutting, but I'm not surprised. I've been banging on about a right winger to come in to fight for Saka's spot, not just to provide cover, but to fight for his spot so Saka can take a break every now and then. But we've just not addressed that position, and we've paid the price for it. And rightly so. I mean, it just doesn't seem right for me that Saka, who isn't even 24 years of age, has played he's played exactly 250 games for Arsenal. And yeah, no wonder he's picked up an injury like that. I just don't know what it is. Like, every time we pick up a convincing win, something always happens like this. An injury occurs every single time, and it's gutting. Now, obviously, I'm gonna remain calm about this because I think if a Saka injury was going to come, I think this would be, I guess, the right time. Because we are in December, we are approaching January, so it gives the club the opportunity to go out and spend. That's no guarantee that they're going to, but it gives us an opportunity. And you look at you look at our game, in January, and okay, Tottenham in the North London derby. I think we've got a couple of Champions League games, which, I mean, we only need 6 points, not 6 points, 2 points to qualify to the knockout stages, and then we've got Man United in the FA Cup. Well, I just don't think he would have played anyway, because we know Arteta doesn't really take these cup competitions seriously. So I don't think he would have played regardless against Man United. And you know what else will be interesting, right? Is now that Saka is out injured, how will opponents set up against us? Because we've seen over the years, not just this season and the season before, where they're doubling up on Saka every game, but they can't do that for a long period of time. So I don't know how other opponents are going to set up against us. They can't obviously double up on Jesus, because let's be honest, no one in this squad, from an attacking standpoint, is anywhere near Saka when it comes to his clinical ability. So I think it will allow us more space. I feel like with Erdegaard being out injured, I felt like Saka was still there. obviously there was still that notion about them doubling up on Saka because he was still there, and because Ødegaard wasn't there either. They had the license to obviously double up on Saka, because if they know if they double up on Saka, then we had nothing down that right hand side at the time. But without Saka, I feel like you don't really see many teams doubling up on Ødegaard, so it could allow us more space. I don't know. But that's just a huge miss, isn't it? I mean, like, realistically, I don't know who we need in January. I'd almost argue we need a winger more than we need a striker at the moment, because I just don't think anyone can touch Saka at the moment. I'm looking at Mbeumo at Brentford, but he's more of a left-sided player. But if I had to come down to him, I mean, he's got 12 months left on his current deal. So for me, that's a no-brainer. Whereas Semenyo, on the other hand, signed a 5-year deal at Bournemouth. So I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. Whereas in Mbeumo, I'd say that's the most realistic option. I'd still like a striker to come in, but I think we need to solve that winger situation first, because it's not looking good, and we've needed one for ages, and it's just madness that we've not addressed it. I think obviously it's down to what was that? Was that an echo?
Yeah, echo there, guys. It's gone now. It's all good.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I think it's down to two things with this Saka injury. Obviously, one, with the referees not protecting him, and two, obviously letting him go on these, irrelevant international friendlies. Like, we've got to be more ruthless than this. And I said it ages ago, like, Arsenal always play the Mr. Nice Guy when it comes to players going out on international duty. I don't really see Arsenal often going, right, you're not going on national duty, you're staying put. Never have I seen Arsenal do that before with, our senior players, our most important players, to say the least. I mean, I heard something that Saliba is the only one in our current, starting 11 has not really picked up an injury this season. He's hardly missed any games. And hopefully I've not jinxed it, but, that is awful. Everyone else has either been injured for a long period of time or they've had slight setbacks. I mean, it's quite worrying. From the fitness we had last season. I mean, we hardly picked up any injuries last season. Meanwhile, this season they're dropping like flies. Like Ben White, he's had to have an operation. Gabriel's had to miss a couple of games. Calafiori, Declan Rice. Who else? Thomas Partey missed a game as well. I think Jesus has as well. I mean, I think the only 4 players that managed to stay fit this entire season are Kivior, Trossard, Waneri, and I think there's one more, Jorginho, and there might be another one.
And the
There's
keepers.
definitely 5.
And the keepers.
Oh yeah, the keeper, right. I mean, that's terrible. So is it down to the manager here? Like, the way he's training these players? Is he telling them to jump from 6-foot ledges? Like, what we're doing here in training? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Or are we telling them to run into brick walls? It's honestly baffling. So if we don't sign a winger, with Sterling being out injured as well, that would be suicidal. And I listened to Mikel Arteta's press conference. It's always, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. There's no absolutes with his answers in press conferences. It's always, yeah, we'll see, we'll see. We're planning, getting the best out of players we already have. So, yeah, that just tells the whole story, doesn't it? I mean, he said at one point Kai Havertz could be playing right wing, and I'm like, oh my god, if I have to watch Kai Havertz playing as a right winger, oh my god.
Man.
But yeah, I swear, didn't he say Winery as a striker at one point? I don't know.
Yeah, he said 1 year he's a man as well.
Yeah, didn't he come on as a striker the other day?
He did, yeah. He played
He
the
did,
last
yeah.
5 minutes up front. I think at that point that was Arteta trolling at that point, though, wasn't it? I mean, let's be honest.
And I keep saying he always wants to mold players into like different positions, despite them not being that position. Like, just sign players who are actually qualified to play in their positions. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm just deflated, to be honest with you. And hopefully, this has given Arteta the signal to actually go and get a winger, because I'd rather get a winger than a striker at this rate. Because like, I don't think we can rely on Martinelli and Trossard to start games with Sterling injured. Like, who we got on the bench? Like, I know the bench has I know the bench has always been weak, but you want either one of Martinelli or Trossard on the bench. Because Sterling's out injured, then who's there to throw off the bench? Winery? Apart from that, because he's signed about 80 defensive players, we're just going to have defenders on the bench, aren't we? Or midfielders. So, yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest with you. I guess Kai Havertz, if he has any plan of dropping him, but that's not going to happen. I reckon it's going to be Havertz through the middle and Jesus on the right, and then one of Trossard or Martinelli on the left-hand side. So, it is what it is, and hopefully Arsenal react with this situation.
Yeah, for sure. I'll come to you next, Cooper, bro. What's your I want to get your initial reaction to Saka being out. They're saying 8 weeks. It could be longer with a torn hamstring, man. What would you make of that? Obviously, one of our most key players out. And what do Arsenal need to do now for you, Cooper, to address this?
Obviously you hate seeing somebody like Saka go down, but I think we've all feared it for years. I think he's overplayed. Like Seb was saying, he goes to these Nation League games and he goes to, like the guy never stops. And how many times do we see him pull up a couple times this year? And, it's a knock, it's a knock, it's a knock. Of course, Arteta doesn't say this is exactly what's wrong. PR, 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 PR. If he's talking 8 weeks, let's think about 3 weeks until he gets his feet back underneath him, and he's, and by then we're, almost in April. And I just want to say, hey guys, sorry. But I think, January is coming. And we all, Josh, you and I have joked about this. What does Arsenal do in January? Nothing. And I don't think they're going to get somebody through anyway. I don't, unless somebody becomes available that they can get. I'm tired of just signing somebody to sign somebody. I want an impactful player. I don't want to signing somebody that's a band-aid to the problem of Saka now. If you're going to put Martinelli on the right, play Martinelli on the right. Play him down the center. I don't know. I still personally haven't gotten over the Everton game. For me, it showed Arteta's lack of. He doesn't have an imagination. Like we've all said it. He's terrible rotating players. What was which game was it that we had? Moreno, Jorginho, and then Unweary. well, of course, 1 year he didn't do anything. You know, I mean, it's like the slowest midfield you could possibly get. I hope we go in for somebody, and I hope it's somebody that we can get in January, and it's a big signing. But you know, Arsenal always says January. It's hard to do those type of things, those type of signings. You know, I'm disappointed in you know, with the team this year. Um, I'm not so much disappointed with the players, even though, you know, sometimes you can kind of tell on the player with the players, like their body language, whether or not they're, you know, if you're playing for a coach and you respect them, you know, you play your ass off for them. You know, Saliba the other day. I mean, I think that's one of the worst. That goal he gave up. I mean, not even taking, you know, putting a fucking foot out to try to save it. I mean, I know you're a Rolls Royce. I know you play at you know, higher levels than most people, but you know, but then on the other side of it, you know, he's been babysitting. He's either had Kivior on one side or he's had Thomas Partey on the right side. You know, so you know, hopefully we can keep our back four solid. And I think the one player who has stood out above all over the last couple games is Miles Lewis Skelly. I mean, I don't think Calafiore should get his spot back. You know, if you're playing well and you're in form, play. Beat him out. You know, beat him out of the position. But that guy, that kid's just wonderful, and I don't see Arsenal. I'm trying to be as positive, but I don't see Arsenal doing anything in the window. It's just how many times have we been down this road? We've needed somebody. We've needed somebody. We've needed somebody, and they let us down. You know, I'm just I'm trying to set it up emotionally for me. You know, so when the shit hits the fan, I'll be prepared. You know, but I think it's gonna be a long season now with soccer gone.
Yeah, for sure, Cooper. I hear it, man. You know, obviously, bro, very well said. Facts as always, man. Obviously, I'll come to you last but not least, Dom, mate. Let's get your initial reaction to Saka. You know, what would you do from here as well in terms of on that right hand side? You know, because we saw Martin Lee play there. I thought he done really well actually when he did play there in that Palace game. But we know Jesus can play there as well. Obviously, no Sterling's also out injured as well. But yeah, what's your thoughts? Obviously, initially on him getting injured for quite a while, and you know, what would you do solution-wise, man?
Yeah, I think it's, as everyone says, it's no surprise, right? I mean, every team in the league has two, or certainly top teams, but have 2, 3, 4 irreplaceable players. You know, ours are Saliba, Rice, Saka, Odegaard. You know, City have players like De Bruyne, you know, until recently, but Haaland, Diaz, and Rodri, right? Every team has them, which makes obviously finding that player that wants to come in difficult. But I think Arsenal have got the solutions on the right. In players like Jesus, who's just coming back to form, or Martinelli. But I think, you know, and we said it in the summer, right? Arsenal felt one forward light. I always understood why the striker wasn't bought. I think there were question marks over the 2 or 3 in the market, but the wide player was needed. Now, I think Sterling is still a good pickup. I think he's been underused by Arteta. And Arteta, as always, is very contradictory in his comments. You know, 1 minute he said he doesn't want Sterling, and then, you know, he talks about Sterling. He said he had a 5-minute conversation with him, and that was enough. So you never know where Arteta stands. It's a bit like his January comments, right? You know, he says on one hand, we get by. Does he really mean it? You just can't trust anything he says in the media. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Eve. Let's on to Eve, man. Oh, bless you, man.
You know, so I don't put much store by what Arteta does and doesn't say, especially in the media. It's a game, right? And you just have to take it for what it is. But it's obviously disappointing. It's not a surprise, and it's a difficult one because he is one of your star players, and Arsenal are under pressure and have been in the last year or two to to progress, and he's obviously one of those big players. And every time Arsenal rotate, segments of the fans go mad, and then they go mad when he doesn't rotate. So it's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. But unquestionably, Saka should have had more rest. We'd all agree on that. No one's going to argue with that. And Arsenal pay the consequence for it. I think obviously we're going to have to get through the next 3-4 games at least with what we've got, because I don't see a signing coming in before then. I think the only silver lining here would be, assuming Arsenal have the money for it, and we don't know, but I would assume with the late transfers coming in that we will have some money in January, that you've got to go out and buy somebody or loan. We can still loan players. We have 2 in on loan. You can register 4 loan players. So there is that prospect. You know, I think Seb mentioned Rashford earlier. Does anyone want it? No. Would I take it as a loan? Only yes, but it wouldn't be my first choice. The 2 I'm really interested in are players like Burma or from Brentford, who I think is probably gettable. Brentford aren't making Europe, and they're not going down. Whereas, and again, people mentioned it later, and I always have to look up his name, so I did write it down. Semenyo from Bournemouth. I don't see that happening, and I'm not sure I've seen quite enough. I think he looks a talent, but I'm not sold. Whereas someone like Burma or David could come in. They can play, they can put pressure on, but probably no, they're not necessarily starters, which probably gives you your Raheem Sterling replacement in the summer when Sterling goes back to Chelsea, because he's not going to sign here permanently. That's probably the more realistic signing. Obviously, we want to see someone like Nico Williams. I think you want Nico Williams too. I think that's a good pick, but someone like him, right? That's not going to happen in January. It's just not. But you know, someone like that is probably where Arsenal should be looking, because it's realistic. You can probably do it in January. It's affordable, because I'm assuming Arsenal's finances are tight because we didn't do much in the summer. We said we weren't going to do much in the summer. And we spent a lot in recent years. So I'm assuming that PSR is tight. None of us know. It's a guess. It's an educated guess on my part. But I think something like that feels about right. But in the meantime, you know, that one striker light, not striker, one forward light, it is biting us, and that was always the risk going in to the window. You know, and we're just going to have to see what happens. You know, it's a massive blow in the chance of his team winning this year, anything. But I still don't think it's gone, right? I mean, if we beat Ipswich and we beat Brentford the next 2 games, we're 1 point behind where we were this time last year with 1 game played fewer, and we played a lot less difficult games. But the injuries are becoming increasingly concerning this year. They are, you know, I think Rory mentioned it earlier, they are significantly higher than last year. Last year, by the way, everyone keeps saying we didn't have any injuries last year. We had a lot of injuries last year. Jesus, Partey and Timber missed most of the season, and there were other injuries. But what didn't happen was our big 4 or 5 players got injured. Whereas this season, we have seen a lot of them get injured. And that's coupled with a lot of other injuries has definitely hampered us. And that's a concern that those things just not going our way. That's the one niggle worry I have about the season. Do I think it'll have quite the impact that Odegaard did? No, I don't think it all comes through the team. And I think Rory made a really interesting point, which would be we attack down the right mostly. Is there more space all of a sudden across the pitch because teams aren't doubling up? And does that vary the attack? Something I was speaking about a couple of weeks ago, that Arsenal, particularly against Everton, but even arguably against Fulham, were too much focused on one side, and it made it easy for Fulham and Everton in that low block to cut that out, because they could really overload that side that Arsenal wanted to come down, and we didn't try and come down the other side. I felt against Fulham, the players really could have taken the ball by the horn a bit more and done that. Against Everton, it was pure tactical and substitution. You know, I put the Everton one on their manager more than the players, and vice versa. But obviously, ultimately, everyone has to take it. But that could be interesting to see whether that helps. But yeah, undoubtedly, I anything anyone said. We were 1 attacker short in the summer. We all said it in the summer. You know, that doesn't make the window a shambles, but it's you know, we were 1 attacker short, and you know, that is now an issue.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Oh, and sorry, one last thing. I did see your comment on AFC Always End. That was why I was giggling like a little schoolboy. You can't read it out, Josh.
Oh. Just
Talking about-
acting it.
Talking to AFC always, he says, questions to the panel, couldn't Nwaneri play on the right? I think
That's a shout, to be fair.
I don't think it would be my first
No.
first choice, right? But it's an option for the right. We just got to get through the next couple of days. But the only silver lining would be that if Arsenal weren't minded to do anything, but there was a bit of money there, that it might just force their hand. I think they said something like they were expecting injuries to get better. I mean, again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt because it's an Arteta comment. If the opportunity's there or things significantly change, that's where we're into the market. Maybe that forces their hand, but no one knows what they're thinking because they don't actually tell anyone ever. They are, and this is a compliment in some ways, they are one of the best clubs at keeping their plans quiet. Manchester United, for instance, leak like an absolute sieve. You know exactly what they're going to do, and that hinders them. Chelsea, very similar. But yeah, that's the only possible silver lining here is that you were in a situation where Matt might just force their hand. But it's not going to be an Isak. It's not going to be a Gyökeres. It's not going to be that sort of player.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go to obviously that's the negatives out of the way, guys, with Saka being injured. Let's go to obviously a bit positive. The game obviously on Saturday, Palace 5-1, Selhurst Park, man, under the lights. I was looking at it. I think before the game I said 1-0 because that stadium, Selhurst Park's a tough place to go to at times, man, and for us to go there and score 5 against them is pretty impressive, Obviously, we saw Gabriel Jesus once again getting a brace, scoring a hat-trick against them 2 days ago, then coming back to Selhurst Park, scoring two more goals, looking like he's found his form, which is really good to see, man, because I'll be real, I think I wasn't the only one, but there's many fans critical of this guy, of his performances recently, and he's came back, I still think it's early days with Jesus. I still think let's go and see what he does against Ipswich, let's see what he does if he can keep it consistent, but very, very happy with him. It's kind of like that's what he needed, man, is that first goal. And since he's got that first goal, the confidence, that sort of boosts him up, But yeah, obviously, actually, the defense was, I think Saliba had a really shaky game. I don't know what you guys thought about Saliba, but very, very unlike him, man. I actually thought the best defender was probably Lewis Skelly. I think he really stood out yet again. 18 years of age.
I thought the best defender was Mark Gahey.
But
he took it literal. He literally loves
I was
Jesus,
joking,
doesn't he?
But yeah,
not anymore, Rory.
But yeah, honestly, I thought Lewis Skelly once again had this very, very good performance. Raya, other than that time where he made that little pass where it led to them being through, I think he saved us he made some big saves, like 1-on-1 from Mateta as well. That was a big save as well. So he stepped up as well in some big occasions. As I said earlier, Martinelli on the right wing looked really good. When he changed wins, and maybe when Saka comes back, that's something we'll see in the future, is them switching. Maybe Saka can go on the left and he can play on the right. But I think overall, guys, fantastic performance. 5-1. Couldn't really ask for much more, going away to Palace and doing them by 5. Fantastic. So I'll start with you, said, mate. What's your thoughts on that game? That performance, and if you want to talk about some players that stood out to you as well, man.
Yes, of course. I'm very happy with the result. I didn't actually think we were that great, to be honest, especially defensively and in midfield. And I honestly thought at times we did get away with it. But for once, our strikers bowed us out for once. Usually before, that used to be the problem. But now we actually banged the goals. And the defence was actually kind of a problem because I was actually making too many mistakes. But we were quite fortunate that their finishing wasn't very good. And also, like you said, Ray, apart from when that silly play out from the back, other than that, he did very well. He did very well, and happy for Jesus again. He's definitely a confidence player, and I thought Martinelli actually did well, especially when he was actually moved out to the right after when Saka got injured. He actually did impress. So maybe that's an option you can use in his time. And yes, I do agree that Lewis Skelly was definitely our best defender, because I didn't think Saliba was that good. I thought he one of his quietest games, but it's the odd one. So See, the thing is, I don't mind it if they have the odd game where they don't perform, because that's the players we want. Is when they don't do it consistently. And I thought that second half, I was crying. Bring Rice on, because the way they cut through in midfield and they left us open was rather concerning. So I said we need Rice on. And when he came on, he did actually sew it up a bit, and then he got the goal, which had the icing on the cake. He took that goal very well. But yes, listen, I'd always take a 5-1 win, especially away from home, and that was a game that did actually get me quite concerned, mainly because we have them in the cup as well, so that makes the league game, when you're having it a few days later, especially at their place, that extra bit hard, and especially after they've just come into form going in.
It's always a worry, isn't it, Seb, when you get those back-to-back games like that and you win the first one, what happens in the second? Just historically.
Yeah, true. It always makes that second game a little bit harder. But yeah, apart from the injury, obviously, which is awful, but other than that, I was happy watching that game, and it was a very good one. And this is what I want to see: resilient, clinical Arsenal, vintage Arsenal, banging in goals, because that was also crucial for our goal difference, especially when you're seeing Liverpool and Chelsea constantly get wins and boost up the goal difference. So, yeah, I am happy with a win, but I do feel I don't want to see Havertz in midfield again. Yes, I know he scored. Yes, I know it didn't come back and bite us, but we shouldn't be doing this. You've got to play either one or the other. And right now, I think with the form Jesus, you've got to keep him in the side for a few more games and bring Havertz in. You can't play them both. I want to go back to seeing Partey, Rice, and Odegaard back in midfield, because it really unbalances it. And we did actually see an example of that at the weekend when they kept cutting through us, and that Saka kept coming through. Mateta,
He's a good player, man.
Yeah.
Mateta as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
his name sounds like Arteta, for fuck's sake. Honestly, why the fuck was he bullying our two centre backs? God.
But to be fair, we did actually deal with him quite well. To be fair.
Yeah, second
well. Gabriel did well, but yeah.
Mateta's been given a few players physically a problem this season. He's not had his shooting boots on for a lot of it, but he's given a lot of players. I don't
think he's a ruthless
physical
striker,
time.
He's definitely someone that can hold out that ball well, bully someone like you said, and
an Emil Heskey type player.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but yes, very happy with the result. But has it come too late? Has it come too late? Because the thing is, look, my standards is top. I want to win this league. Is top. Is surpassing Liverpool. That's my standards. Not laughing at Man United. Yes, as much as I hate them and as much as it's great to see them like this, I'm not. No, my standards is not that low. I'm not even laughing at City with this current form, because I want to be top. It doesn't mean anything unless you're top, and that is where I want. That is where I want to be, and this is why I hold my club accountable to that. And this is why what makes it more frustrating, because I know we've got this in us to batter teams as well, and to play some of the football like we did at the weekend, like we did against West Ham, like we did against Sporting, like we did against Nottingham Forest. I know it's in us. But it's whether we can do it consistently and whether we've got the manager to do it, that can get the best out of them to do it every single week. And yes, I know you can't be vintage every single week. Some games you do have to be more preserved and grind it out. Like last year when we went to Palace, we grinded it out. We had to grind it out, but we just won 1-0 up, 1-0 up, 2-0 the year before.
Tommy actually got sent off as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yes, it was that one, wasn't it? Yeah. I knew Seb would remember. He's got an encyclopedic memory, although, to be fair, you also remember Josh.
Yeah. but yes, now it's about kicking on and starting another run. And I do actually really now worry whether we can do this, especially without Saka. I was doubting whether we could do this before, but now without Saka, it's going to be even harder.
So, are you not confident for January then that they're going to sign anyone?
Well, we've got to, and we've got to get them in early because this next run of games is difficult. It's difficult. We've got games twice a week now. From now, it's twice a week. So we've got to get these players in early. Just give the team a lift, and then maybe we can push on and also go on and win this Carabao Cup and go further in the Champions League and start a cut run in the FA Cup. See, I want to be in every competition. I want to be competing for all the prizes, especially the Premier League. That's what I want. These are my standards, and they will not drop. But like I said, good result. But now we've got to kick on from here.
Disagree, 100%.
What's that?
I'm joking. I'm just messing.
He's messing.
Popcorn settings.
Wait, hold on. What was that?
No, I was just
He's
messing.
messing.
He was messing around. He wasn't serious.
He's messing.
Gonna say,
Yeah, I do agree with you, Seb, man. I do agree. Real talk. Let me go to I'll go to you next, Cooper, bro. 5-1 against Palace. You know what are you saying after that performance, man?
I'm happy they won 5-1. You know, I'm happy that Jesus is scoring some goals. I'd like to see it. I don't know what happened. You know, the guy hasn't scored in the Prem since January, and all of a sudden he scores 5 goals in 2 games, right? Do I think it'll continue? Just far enough in the January transfer window to say, see, we don't need a striker. We got Jesus. I'm sorry. What did you ask me? I'm sorry. I was paying attention to you.
Just really quickly, I'm just going to go grab a jumper because I've suddenly cooled down from football and I'm flipping
All good,
freezing.
man. All good.
I'll be back in a sec.
No, don't. I'm sorry, Cooper. Just your initial thoughts on what you made of the game. On any players that stood out to you, Cooper, that you want to mention.
Miles Lewis Skelly again. The kid, he's just so good on the ball, and like I trust him. It's like it's. I don't feel like I'm watching an 18-year-old kid. You know what I mean? But even though we'll probably go in and we'll buy another left back and goalkeeper. If we bring in anybody, we'll get a left back and a goalkeeper, and right, because that's who we signed in January.
Yeah.
But ooh, nice jumper.
Showing all kind of leg.
Woohoo!
No wonder it's cold. Shorts and t-shirts. Winter.
Sorry,
I
know.
resist.
I know we're fair. It was -7 here this morning, like degrees Fahrenheit, but I don't know what it is Celsius. Whatever it is, it's cold.
Cold.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing that I just want to say real quick, and then I'll let you guys continue. Like, how did you guys feel like with that? Thank you, Eve. Like that team, the first half of the cup game. I mean, it just shows like the lack of. Like that's the team he started with. Like I'm glad they won the cup game too, but it starts getting me. There's no rotation. I just feel like, I mean, obviously, you eat it. Okay. Can you say Merry Christmas?
Merry Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Can you say Arsenal? Go, go, go. Guess not. She's eating popcorn. I just. If we win something, you got to have like a 24-hour panel.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's got to be done.
have really good conversation. But I I'll let you guys. You know, I know I would like to see Unweary in the 8. I don't. I still don't understand why we haven't started him there, or put Odegaard in the, on the left and Weary on the right. The midfield. But I just, I think Odegaard's still slow coming back. But the thing that bothers me for the rest of the year is that we all know that the transfer window was shit. We didn't bring anybody in. We were light at the get go. I don't know what's going on. Our training grounds must be like. Somebody told me it was a car park. Was it? And they just put the fields down around like it was pavement.
Not that I'm aware of.
But I'll go back to you guys. I'm sorry.
No, man, no, 100%.
I got
Seb,
one eye here and one eye here.
yeah, of course, man, of course. I understand, bro, 100%. Seb, I know you got to go, man, right? You got to leave now.
Yeah, I've got to go. Yeah, I've got to go and collect some things. Yeah, if they ask me.
Okay, no worries, man. Do you want to shout your articles? You want to shout anything before you get out of it?
I haven't got it. I did that. My latest article went out. I did another one at the weekend on the perfect player that I think Arsenal should sign.
Seb, you should talk about it because look at us in the sidebar about Danny Olmo.
Yeah,
it was a good article. That.
Yeah, I think he's perfect for what Arsenal need, especially if he's available on the free. We've got to get him because you never know. He could also be
available on the free.
Yeah, he could well be. Barcelona can't register him if they don't
sign
someone.
If they can't register him, then we've got to pounce.
Wow, 100%, man. That'd be
what about Charlie Patino as a backup?
No, come on. Don't have time for that. No.
Bertie was asking Bertie in the chat as well. So I had to throw that one out there.
Look, it's Arteta's fault in the first place why he's not here.
Mate, he's not good enough for Arsenal. I was doing my best to be behaved. I didn't mention it, but he's not good enough for Arsenal.
Anyway, Seb, I'll let you get going, man.
Seb, have a good Christmas, mate, because I probably won't get a chance to see you beforehand.
Okay, see you later, yeah.
Yeah, have a great Christmas, man. See you later, Seb. Yeah, see you soon.
Bye.
There
we go. And there was free.
Oh, Cooper's gone as well.
Yeah. Well, it's Christmas, and here are the 3 wise men. Well, one and you two, anyway.
4.
Oh, you.
But yes. Dom, I'll come to you next, man, about the Palace game. 5-1. Let us know, your thoughts on it, and any players you want to mention who stood out to you, mate.
I think it was it's an interesting game, wasn't it? Arsenal. I talk about Arsenal a lot and having control in games, right? This game didn't really have control. It was a very frenetic game, very end to end. I think that didn't help. I thought everyone's saying rightly that Raya had a good game, and in the second half that's true. But in the first half, I actually thought he looked a little bit suspect at times. Not just with that pass, he just looked a bit unsure of himself, and Saliba was out of sorts and what have you. But that's unusual, and Seb was absolutely right when he said it's a one-off, and that doesn't concern me. But I think it was also partly because Arsenal sort of a bit of a throwback to that first title challenge season. We were a little bit more frenetic. I agree. I don't want Kai Havertz in central midfield. But I wonder if that was deliberate to try and really get at Palace, because they were clearly shaken by the way we attacked them all of a sudden in that first game, and whether that was deliberate. Because I think if you put Rice or Moreno in there, I think that's more balanced. But it's more balanced between attack and defence. And I think Arsenal's plan was to go all out attack in that game, and they did that. And Rory made a good point last week about how when Jesus plays, we've got more bodies in the middle, and I think that's absolutely true. but I think that was tactical. But it was interesting to see Havertz from midfield getting into the box as well, and that's what I want to see him do when he's the number 9. I know he's doing what he's been told and moving around, but he needs to get more in the middle, and that's what led to that third goal. But I mean, overall, bar the Saka injury, I'm really proud of that. I'm really pleased with that performance. It showed attacking intent. We moved the ball down the right, down the left. We rested a load of players, created a lot, and Jesus looks really transformed. We were speaking about Martinelli needing a goal and him needing a goal earlier this season. He suddenly got it, and he seems just so much more relaxed on the field. It was quite interesting. I was listening to Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer talk about this morning, and they were saying that it's funny old game really that Jesus, it's not just confidence, but your luck seems to almost change as a striker. And they, these two should know they've scored a heck of a lot of goals for England and various clubs over their career. And they were saying it's a type of thing when suddenly your form's in, everything goes in. It was like, and they were saying that a couple of weeks ago, that second goal hits the post rather than goes in. The first goal doesn't go, gets blocked rather than in. And Jesus just seems to be in that form at the moment. And I think it's well timed because, Havertz could do with a rest. I think probably more likely now he's going to have to play with Havertz because of the injuries. But a really good performance all round, really, really, good play. The defence wasn't quite there. And Seb's right about the control in midfield. But that was always going to be missing when you're not playing either Moreno or Rice in the 8. Because they do bring that control. But yeah, I don't think we can have any complaints about performance whatsoever. And as I said earlier, win the next 2 games and, you're actually 1 point worse off than we were last season with a game less played, right? I think the concern is how long can we keep a run going in the second half of the season? We've seen this team can do it. Can it do it now? Because it's doing it in far more adversity than it did last season. So I don't know. But this was a good win. It was a needed win. And we end. Last week was a terrible week for us by the Champions League. This week, much better one. We're suddenly in the Cup semi-final, and we've closed ground on Chelsea. We didn't close ground on Liverpool because Tottenham are freaking awful. But no complaints about the game whatsoever. Although I found it quite tactically quite interesting how that game went. That was, I think, my main interest in the game.
Yeah, for sure, man. And Rory, bro, I'll come to you last, man. Obviously, 5-1 against Palace. Back to winning ways after obviously joining with Fulham and Everton as well. Jesus seems to be on his way back, man. But what do you make overall, bro?
Yeah, very convincing towards the end. I felt like first half, our backs were against the wall, and defensively, we had some shaky moments. I mean, Saliba, although we all love Saliba, right? Sometimes he needs to get tighter to prevent the shot coming in, if you know what I mean. He did the same against Southampton, if you remember, and he's done the same on Saturday, where that goal could have easily been prevented. And I don't think it was just him, by the way. Thomas Partey was very slow to react. I think that is the problem with Thomas Partey. He's very slow to stop transitions, hence why Declan Rice was the right change as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? Credit to the manager, because he was heavily criticised last week with his substitutions and the fact he brought on Jorginho for Declan Rice. He brought off Odegaard as well. He brought on Partey at right back. It has to be said, Saturday he got his changes spot on. Brought on Declan Rice at the right time, clearly saw that we were getting overrun in midfield due to the fact both of our fullbacks were inverting and Partey had no choice but to cover as the right back. So it left a huge hole in midfield, hence why Palace were exploiting that area. I thought Mateta caused a couple of problems, as well as Sarr. And you know what? I've got an unpopular opinion about David Raya. I thought it was absolutely outstanding yesterday, bar from the pass out from the back. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Kept us in the game 3 times, and fans are out here giving him slack. Yes, that pass could have ended badly, but at the end of the day, saved us 3 times and kind of got our defence out of trouble, if you ask me. Gabriel Jesus.
Real quick, Rory, sorry to interrupt. I think you're right on the second half, but first half, he wasn't great, but I think that also shows the standard he set, right? I didn't think he had his best game, but as I was saying, he and Saliba how often do they let us down? Not very often. So I think sometimes, players are not going to be 8, 9 out of 10 every week. I think the first half, I understand it. Second half, as you rightly say, he was much, much better.
I mean,
sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah. I completely get that, but I think with the 3 saves that proved to be huge, and the manner of like the saves as well. I believe the Mateta chance was when we were 2-1 up. Like he scores that, it's 2-2, and it could be a different game. I think the second save at the start of the second half, that would have been, I believe, 3-2, and I believe he made a double save as well. Like 5 minutes later. So, yeah, I think Rye deserves his flowers. I think Lewis Skelly was outstanding. Yeah, I mean, I can't lie. He does give me, I'm not saying, I'm not saying he's anywhere near this player, but I reckon he gives me vibes of Camavinga a little bit. The way he can get himself out of these sticky situations, like every time he's sat there thinking he's going to lose the ball, isn't he? He always manages to get himself out of that situation, if you know what I mean. Like, he did the same against Monaco leading up to the first goal that Saka scored. And the a couple of occasions in that Crystal Palace game where he was so good to get the ball under control despite being pressed by 3 or 4 players. So he deserves credit. I thought Parsley was a lot better in the second half because, in the first half, him and Saliba were... Yeah, I honestly don't know what they were doing. They were like the Chuckle Brothers at times. Timber.
I've got to disagree with you again, Rory. They weren't like the Chuckle Brothers because neither of them wanted it. Whereas in the Chuckle Brothers, it's to me, to you, isn't
it? that's true. But Jimmy and Timber. Look, one thing about Timber, right, is I don't know what's being told to Timber, but I don't know why we are taking throw-ins. Like, what? How long are we taking when we're like taking throw-ins? It's starting to get a bit frustrating now. And at some point, the refs are going to target him. And I don't know whether that's been told by the manager or whatever, but we always take like 5 minutes to take our throw-ins. I mean, Timber got booked because of it. Gabriel got a needless yellow card. Huh?
Such a daft booking, that.
Yeah.
Daft, sorry, I was speaking Yorkshire. Daft.
But the attack. Martinelli, I thought, had a very good game on the right-hand side. Felt really comfortable there than the left, and it got me thinking, like, why don't we switch the wingers often? Why didn't we when Saka was fit? Because that Martinelli performance, no problem with it whatsoever. Did he not get an assist?
He did, yeah. He got to the byline. He did it back, yeah.
Yeah, first time I actually saw him beat his man, and I thought he looked fairly comfortable on the right-hand side, to be fair to him. Who played on the left-hand side again? Obviously, Trossard came on, didn't he? Still need to see more from Trossard, in my opinion. Although it was a great run for the... I'm losing count now. Was it the 4th goal?
Always nice when you lose count because you scored that many.
Yeah. But Declan Rice, when he came on, and again, this is where I credit the manager because he came on at the right time, and the moment he came on, that stuffed out any threat through the middle, because that's where Crystal Palace were most threatening. He was excellent, well taken finish as well, and bagged an assist. So that was nice to see. Also, I thought Gabriel was slightly better than Saliba, definitely. I thought he did have a solid game. I mean, we are forgetting that pass to Trossard for the 4th goal, which was superb. So, I think he deserves credit for that. But Gabriel Jesus, I mean, I'm happy for him, man, because look, I've always liked Jesus. It's just consistency, and hopefully this isn't just a purple patch and he's only doing it against Crystal Palace and because it's Christmas, but
You had to
He's
get that
playing
one
really
in
well
there.
at the moment, and I've been saying for ages he is better when he's starting games than he is coming off the bench. I mean, when he's coming off the bench, he's about as useless as a doorbell on a tent. So I think Jesus should
My
definitely
favourite
be
one I heard the other day on that was about as useful as nipples on a breastplate.
Fucking hell. But yeah, Havertz in midfield, I still don't like.
No,
I mean, he's got to find a way to sort of accommodate Jesus in this team without, shoehorning Kai Havertz into this, because just because, Jesus is starting doesn't mean you have to start Kai Havertz every week. It doesn't mean that. Like, if it's not Partey at right back, it's Havertz in midfield. And if that's going to be the case, we're going to play Jesus up top, Martinelli on the right, Trossard on the left, with Havertz in midfield. I know what to say. And, if he wants to fit in Partey in there, he'll play him at left back, won't he? So there's no other way for Arteta to drop Kai Havertz. Even if he is playing well, right? I'd still be sat here saying, right, okay, you need to find the correct balance here. And
I have no
thought,
issue with Partey at right back at the moment because it's a needs must, but we don't want to see it, right? But there is
no,
no need to
no.
play Havertz in midfield, right? If Moreno, Rice, Jorginho, just for example, are all injured and you're having to play Kai Havertz there, then none of us like it, but okay, right? It is what it is. But there was no need to play him there. Like Rice, Moreno, or Jorginho could have played in that
Yeah,
position.
I don't understand. Like, how is Havertz getting in ahead of our £35 million signing Moreno?
I mean,
Or Marino,
I
sorry.
can only think it was to rest him. That's the only thing I can think of. But I don't know. That's a guess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's any need to. In my
No, I
opinion,
agree.
anyway.
I don't think he needed a rest. But that's the only thing I can think of was that it was to rest him.
He's not even played, that many minutes. I mean, if he played every single game, then I'd understand. But
Yeah. It could, unless it's something to do with the fact because he's just come back from injury too. Unless it was something to do with that injury, I don't know. I'm guessing, but I suspect it wasn't. I suspect it wasn't to rest, but that would be the only reason would be there. But then you could have gone. Do you know what? We're going to start Moreno. He's going to play 55 minutes, and then Rice is coming on, or the other way around, right? There were options there. Whereas if you take the right back option, there's Timber or there's Partey. There's no other
yeah,
option right now. So I can get that one, but I didn't understand. I'm with you. I didn't understand the Havertz one at all.
yeah. Back onto Jesus. Actually, he kind of did have a Jesus moment in that game. I mean, that second goal was absolutely sublime. And I saw a clip where Crystal Palace fans were literally celebrating us not scoring from the corner. Literally 3 seconds later, Jesus banged one in the top bins. In the second half, he should have bagged a hat trick.
Yeah, he should have had about 4 goals,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know how he missed it, but he bangs them in. Like, I don't understand. And to be fair, the header was very unlucky. Very, very unlucky. That led to Havertz's third goal.
Yeah.
But it's a shame he didn't bag that hat trick.
He's involved in the 4th one as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
sure.
pretty much the heart of everything.
Jesus missed a shot that was blocked back to Rice, and then Rice's shot was turned in by Martinelli for the
About
third,
4
and then
goals, man.
and then the fourth one he could have been, sorry, that
Yeah.
was the fourth. Sorry, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just unreal. I was thinking as you were saying, Rory, I was just thinking back to when I did a review of the game. I was like, I think I said Jesus could have had his hat trick about 3 times in the space of about 60
should have had,
seconds.
yeah. Yeah, that is Gabriel Jesus in a nutshell sometimes. He can finish them sort of goals, but when he's like 5 yards away from the net, it's impossible for him, apparently. But yeah, overall, we just need consistency, right? We need to do the same against Ipswich. Ipswich obviously is going to be a difficult game than we think, because what are Ipswich going to do? Exactly what Everton did literally 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we've got to come into that game and be professional. Yes, we've not got Saka, but we've got a strong enough team to beat Ipswich, especially when their captain is out due to suspension. I think it's Morsey, isn't it? So yeah. Overall, good win, and Chelsea dropping points. No Liverpool, battered Tottenham, but that was inevitable, wasn't it? I mean, We can never rely on them mugs to, do us favours. So, yeah, Chelsea dropped points, so we can hopefully move within 3 points behind Liverpool before they play. Although I think they might be playing on Boxing Day. In fact, if I'm wrong,
I was going to say I'll check for you. I thought they played first, but I'll just check for you.
Yeah. So
do we play again? 7th?
Ipswich.
The 27th?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Liverpool do play Leicester the day before. There's no way they lose that.
Yeah.
Oh, Leicester, fuck me. But
Chelsea have Fulham though. They could potentially drop points there. That's a derby game. It's at home, but
yeah.
I'm not worried about Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going to fall away. I'm not worried about them.
I'm not sure. I mean, AFC always makes a good point here. Partey's our best midfielder. You don't see Pep playing Rodri at right back. To be fair, I've seen Partey play right back for Atletico Madrid on numerous occasions. So that's probably
he played there as well in Europa League.
Yeah. I remember him playing against us as a right back in Wenger's last season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of understand. And I've seen Man City play Fabian Delph at left back, for crying out loud, when he's a midfielder. So, yeah, Pep has done it, but this manager's not Pep Guardiola. He does not have the right to, experiment like Pep Guardiola does. Like, you are Mikel Arteta, and you should just be keeping the basics and not mold these players into different positions and make them, players who can play in that position. But yeah, it was a convincing win in the end. Palace definitely caused us some problems, but at the end of the day, I would have taken a scammy 1-0 win. If that game would have ended 1 or 2-1, I'd have taken any sort of victory. And that's definitely helped our goal difference, as Seb pointed out earlier, because Chelsea obviously got a poor result against Everton. So, yeah, that's helped us a lot. And, yeah, we move in it.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Let's talk about obviously our next game, Ipswich on Friday. Yeah, Friday, 27th at the Emirates. Obviously, newly promoted side. As Rory said earlier, they're going to do very similar to what Everton did against us, man, and we got to be up for that because we know what happened there. Obviously, I rate their manager as well. I think McKenna. I do think he's a really good manager for them, and obviously they have some players. They've got Delap up front. Obviously, the son of Rory Delap, right?
So yes, of course.
Rory Delap.
Rory Delap. Yeah, it's Delap.
No,
it's
I keep saying Liam Delap.
Yeah, but yeah.
But his dad was the guy with the long throw-ins. Yeah, man.
Yeah, our new assistant set piece coach. We're Stoke FC, right?
But yeah, no, he's obviously plays up front for them, and he's a decent player. And then they got he's in our academy as well. Amari Hutchinson.
Yeah. You know, Liam Delap used to play for City, who don't have a backup striker.
Yeah. He did, didn't he? He was youth player for them, Liam Delap in City.
They've got a buyback clause, or a percentage off if they buy him back, or matching clause. They got some clauses in there, so be interested to see where he ends up.
But coming to this game, I'm expecting another 3 points. I'm not going to sit here and underestimate Ipswich by any means, but I think we should be winning this game comfortably. So I'll come to you first, Cooper, bro. Talk to me, obviously, about this upcoming game against Ipswich Town. How are you feeling for it, man? And also, what would be your team lineup? What players would you like to see feature against Ipswich?
I think we'll get 3.
Has he gone?
I can't hear him.
Oh.
No, you're back. You're back.
Oh. I think we'll collect 3 points. It's such a mess. Like, if we have our back line of, Maslow, Skelly, and then Gabriel, Saliba, Timber at right back. I'd like to see a Rice Marino and Odegaard. Mid, not even Rice in the sixth. I mean, I guess you could play Partey. Maybe rest one of them. Kai, I don't want to see. I think that's the one. I think when Arteta goes to the Cronkies and says, "All right, I need some more, cough up some more money. I need, to buy a striker." They're like, "Well, wait a second. We just gave you 65 million, right? On a failed infielder or a midfielder." So we spent $65 million on a guy who can't play midfield. So we threw him up top and made him a striker, which he's not a striker. So between the two of them, I mean, and he's our highest paid player on the team. So I think McCallum is going to shoehorn him into any position he feels the need that he needs to. Hi, honey. I mean, I felt like after Everton, I kind of felt like the pressure was off for the season now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt. I finally felt like, could we sink any lower?
Yeah.
But I pray Jesus stays healthy. That was my one fear. He's running around, and I'm like, don't slide and break your, mess your knee up and be out again for another 2 weeks, which turns into 6 months. What are you doing? But I'm just kind of go week to week now. I'm trying not to look that far ahead into the season. It'd be great if we're standing at the end. Of course, what I want for Christmas is for the sell. So if anybody out there knows somebody who can, buy a new football club, Arsenal's for sale. Just buy it off the ground, please. Because I seriously don't think until they're gone, they just don't. The players we're getting in are not impact players. Any signings that other teams make, I mean, look at Man City. I mean, how many strikers have they signed over the last 2 years? We haven't signed one. At least they're giving these guys a try, and we're sitting around waiting for Tesco in the summer. and that motherfucker is going to be stuck in our faces, and we're going to hear how great of it, So and it's going to be the PR bullshit of it, essentially. Oh well, we got to give him time. We got to be nice to him. We got to, he's young. We got to treat him with kit gloves and. What happened to the days when you threw somebody in there and if they couldn't cut it, they didn't play? I guess I come from that era of my mentality was that because that's what it was here when I was growing up. You know what I mean? It was like if you weren't good enough, you didn't make the team. But I just and it worries me that like the thing about Ivan Toney, could have had him for 40. Well, and then Charles Watts comes out and says, who I've learned not to listen to. But they talk these guys up, and I'm tired of well, here are the guys we're interested in, but none of them are going to change, are going to be impactful in Arsenal. You know, we've needed attackers for how many years? You know, and how many attackers has he signed? And I just don't. I don't think Arteta's going to let these guys play like when you watch Cole Palmer play, like you could tell he's just enjoying himself. You know, he's free to do whatever he wants to do, and that's what's great about his game. And I feel like, you know, like we say with Kai, you know, when he's up top, he's never in the middle. He's never in the box. We always know he plays up to the right. He plays more to the right. So you know, I'm happy when Arsenal do well, but I need to see more creativity from Arteta. This is his team. You know, I don't want to hear any excuses. Everybody's got injuries throughout the year. Yes, we've been really hit by the injury bug pretty hard this year. But you know, we should still be able to put together a couple of runs that and we just seem like we're incapable of it. And that worries me going forward. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, we've got some big games coming up, and you know, losing Saka he's our attack.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and you know, we've said this before too. It's like, you know, if Emery hadn't have called up Martinelli, Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, would they have ever gotten called up? You know, because I just feel like when you watch a lot of other managers, a lot of other teams, a lot of these guys coming on are 18, 19 years, you know, they're young kids, except for us. You know, for some reason, we can't play a 17-year-old because the situation's too big for him. But we can play an 18-year-old. You know, the situation is too big for him. I just, and I don't think I think we need somebody who's got some dog in him. Like Ivan Toney has some, you know, he's got some dog in him. You know, he's going to push back, and he's a physical player, but you know, Gyökeres is a physical player. You know, but again, you know, we see what happens with Arteta. Anyway, you know, he gets Riddy out of the team. But you know, I was very happy to see Kieran Tierney finally play.
Yeah, man, I was so happy.
That was, you know, if that he played well. You know,
that ball across the Sterling Cooper as well, man. Put on the plate for him, bro. That's what he was doing the whole game as well. Up and down, up and down.
Yep. And you know, for somebody who hadn't played in a while, you know, he played, you know, really good. And then the next morning you hear, oh well, you know, he's leaving Arsenal in January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not if Lewis Skelly gets hurt. You know. Okay. But hey, I gotta go, guys. I'm sorry. Have a good
no
Christmas.
worries, Cooper. Bless out, Cooper. Listen,
Hey, Merry
my
Christmas,
friend.
you guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, mate. Enjoy your Christmas with your family, and have a great time, Cooper, bro. Thank you so much,
All right.
bro.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
later, Cooper, mate. Take care, bro. In a bit.
Bye.
See you soon, man. Yes, then there was 3 guys. Let's. I'll come to you next on, mate. Obviously, Ipswich on Friday night. You know what's your thoughts going into the game, and what also your team lineup as well. You know what would you like to see the team on Friday, man?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not too concerned about this one. I think we'll win this one fairly comfortably. I mean, a lot of the team will depend on fitness, and we've got a bit of a break, and we're till Brentford on New Year's Day. So what's that? 4 days in between, plus the game days themselves. So plenty of time. So I don't think you overly need to rest players unless you know, they're carrying something coming out of it. So we know Rice is carrying a knock, and we know there's obviously the concerns about Timber / Partey. So it's one of those two at right back, which everyone's fit. If Timber's fit and there's no concerns, he obviously should always start. But any concern there, just give Partey a go, because I don't think we're going to lose, or we shouldn't lose this one. Right? If we're going to win the league, you can't afford slip-ups too many times in these games. So I think we've got to win this one. So it's Rory in goal, one of those two at right back. Saliba, Gabriel. I think Miles Lewis-Skelly deserves to keep his place, but I'd like to see Calafiori come on and get some minutes. I think, like he did the other day, I think that's going to be important for his rehab. Midfield, I think Rice, Moreno, Odegaard. I think that's the strongest midfield. Well, as Partey's played, I just like that balance. And then it would be Martinelli left, Jesus right, and Trossard left. Wouldn't be stunned to see Havertz through the middle with Jesus on the right, but I think you just keep going with that with Jesus through the middle at the moment while he's on fire. So I think that's what it's going to be. Just really quickly on a couple of points Cooper made, and I feel bad disagreeing with him when he's not here. I don't think I can put too much on the Cronkies for the lack of the forward signing. I've always been consistent on, I understood why the striker wasn't signed in the summer, but as I say, a forward should have been. But I think the Cronkies have backed money-wise Arsenal. I really do. I don't think they've turned around and said, no, you can't sign a player. I think this summer was partly market, partly Arsenal's insistence, rightly or wrongly, that they won't sign a player unless that's absolutely the one they want. And I also think it was PSR. They said at the start of the summer it wasn't going to be a big summer. The money wasn't there. There were rumours at the end of last season. We only just scraped PSR, so I'm not convinced. I'm not surprised. I could be wrong. 2 + 2 could be equaling 5, but they can't spend money against the rules. So I've no problem with the ownership. I do think Cooper had a point though on Arsenal's lack of ambition signing forward players. Like we've discussed, we're one short up top. I never thought Havertz should have been signed as an 8. I think he's always sort of more attacking than that, and I didn't think that was going to work. And I was never against the Havertz signing because I figured he was going to become a squad player. I don't think he is right now. I think he's number 9. But I think he will end up being a squad player, and if Havertz is a squad player, I think that's fairly good. But yeah, anyway, that's my side for Ipswich. I think that's probably going to be. I wouldn't be shocked to see 1 or 2 change from that, just for rotation purposes, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because if you can't rotate against Ipswich, then who can you rotate against? But just quickly on AFC, you always point. You can argue about us signing 2 novices, but they've definitely improved us from where we were. No question about that. Can he get us over the line? Time will tell. Obviously questions will be asked, and rightly so, at the end of the season if we haven't won anything. But we saw Emery, who's an experienced manager, have a go and not go right. We've seen Tottenham hire Mourinho, Conte. It's not worked. They've hired experienced managers. It's not worked. Now, if you can get the right experienced manager, it's probably more likely to be successful than an inexperienced right manager. But I don't think we can be too critical of the Edu Arteta appointment overall. Is it going to be enough? Let's see. Right. But either way, Arsenal are now challenging for titles. We were nowhere near 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Absolutely nowhere near. So I don't think we can get on them too much for that appointment.
Yeah, I hear it, man.
And just really quickly on Frankie's,
yeah,
I think Havertz will. I mean, Jesus isn't going to get 20 goals, right? I think I've said it on this show, but I certainly said it on mine. Jesus needs to play a part this season. I think it's his last season. It should be his last season, but that part is going to be 8, 9, 10 goals probably. I think Havertz will get 20 goals in all competitions this season. He's on 11 so far. I think he will, but that's not to say that we shouldn't be looking for an upgrade in the summer. We absolutely should be looking for an upgrade in the summer. You should always be looking for an upgrade in any position. If you can upgrade on William Saliba, you do, right? It shouldn't be a priority, and that's there's not many players out there, but I'm using that to sort of make the point. But Havertz is definitely upgradable.
Yeah, let's go to Rory, man. Obviously, Ipswich on Friday. That's me. Hold on. That's Dom again. We're getting
are you wanting to see my legs again? Is that what you have to?
Anytime now.
But yeah, I was just going to bring up that point as well about Emery not being backed as well. I disagree. I think Emery was backed. In the 2 transfer windows he had, he was backed. And I think in his second window, he spent like over 200 million on players that he bought, and we were 8th. So I think Emery was backed at the time, and I absolutely despised him. But yeah, on to the Ipswich game, right?
It was always difficult, whoever was going to replace Wenger, right? We've seen it at United after Ferguson. I mean, surprised it's gone so well with Slot at Liverpool after Klopp, but, it's always difficult replacing a legend. But you're absolutely right. He had to go.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Pepe, like most of them signings are players he wanted. Like, let's be honest about it. Apart from Pepe, he wanted Ceballos, he wanted Tierney, he wanted Leno, he wanted who else did he bring in? He wanted Saliba as well. He wanted Martinelli. So there was no other like targets that Emery wanted over the players we bought apart from the Pepe transfer, in my opinion anyway, when we obviously bought Pepe over him. So yeah, in terms of the Ipswich game, as I just mentioned earlier, Ipswich will come as a low block like Everton did, and they're going to try and play for a 0-0. I think what Arsenal have to do is obviously grab an early goal because, in these sort of games, I keep saying it, I think we need to get an early goal to sort of settle the nerves, which is what we didn't do against Everton. And in the end, we faced the consequences in the second half because obviously Everton grew more confidence into the game and they just continued what they were doing pretty much, sitting in a low block and playing for a 0-0 draw. So it's important for us to get over the line and actually get 3 points, or else this win has just papered over the cracks from Fulham and Everton in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, we still got to end this year strong and get as close as possible to Liverpool until January time at least. I was hearing that Liverpool have got West Ham away after they face Leicester. So yeah, they've got 2 winnable games, to be fair to them. So we just need to keep up the pace and just pounce on like when Liverpool will drop points, because they will drop points again eventually, like they did against Fulham at Anfield. But yeah, it's another huge game, and I think in terms of the lineup, obviously Raya in goal, Timber at right back, Saliba, Gabriel. I'd like to Calafiori. Do I rush him back? No, I don't think I will, because he is capable of coming back, getting thrown into the deep end and getting injured again. And with that tackle by Klein, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, how the fuck that was not a red card. I mean, let's be honest. If Klein was in an Arsenal shirt and Calafiori was in a Palace shirt, we all know Klein would have been sent off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't risk him for this game because of that horrible challenge. So I'll stick with Lewis Skelly. I think he's been superb lately. Midfield, I'd go Partey, Rice, and Erdegaard. And then the front 3, I'd go Martinelli on the right, Trossard on the left, and then Jesus through the middle. I think Havertz can be very useful against, these sort of opponents coming off the bench, like when he's up against tired legs, and he can come on and use his strength. And we came on against Monaco in the Champions League, and yeah, we ended up seeing up the game, didn't we? Because at the time it was 1-0, and it was overall a shaky second half because Monaco had a couple of good opportunities. Havertz comes on and he did change the game, to be fair to him. So I think we should be using him as a substitute, but knowing Arteta, because Arteta has his nudes on Instagram, I'm pretty sure he will start. He will start again, because this is just
Havertz needs
Arteta,
a rest, right? We spoke about it last week, Rory. He just looks knackered.
Yeah, he got his rest against
Jesus is fit. Just give him a rest for a couple of weeks. Use
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and Jesus is in form right now, and I think, as I mentioned earlier, and as I've said in recent weeks, he he's better when he's starting games, because if he's coming off the bench, Jesus, I have no hope whatsoever. So I think, why not? Let's try Havertz coming off the bench against tired legs, because I think Havertz, when he's playing full 90 minutes against his low blocks, he doesn't really do enough, in my opinion. So him coming off the bench against the back five as well, he can utilise his strength, his hold-up play, his link-up, X, Y, Z, and hopefully that works out. But it's not going to. I think it's going to be Jesus on the right and Havertz through the middle, and then one of Martinelli.
I think you're right.
Yeah, one of Martinelli.
It's not what I would do, but I agree. I think that's what you're going to write. I think Frankie's right here. Something I've spoken about, and I think Rory, you've spoken about too in recent weeks, is we've got to be more varied in attack, and we've got to be quicker in attack. When we see in recent weeks that speed has increased in the attack, suddenly we score goals. I don't think that should be a surprise to anybody. And you're right, by the way. I just looked up. Emery spent 230 million roughly euros during his 2 summers. So that's what, 190 million poundish.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like if we are referring to Emery, he did get backed in them 2 windows and got the players he wanted. It just didn't work out. This doesn't make him a rubbish manager.
Oh no, absolutely not. He's a very good manager.
Didn't work out at Arsenal.
Yeah,
and he was rightly sacked for it. So I'm not really buying into all of this gimmick about Emery wasn't backed, but Arteta was, and he's not won anything since. Look, Emery still spent money.
Yeah,
that's all
and it doesn't change the fact that Arteta has to win something now.
Yeah.
But what it did need was a bit of time, because we just didn't. We had to turn over the entire squad because it just wasn't good enough, and the attitude stunk in the squad, absolutely reeked. And that's always going to take time, which has always been my sort of point on it. But he has to deliver now, because you have had 5 years, and you have now. We either believe he's got the squad and he has to win it, or we don't believe he's got the squad. At which point, he doesn't have the squad. But I think he has got the squad, and therefore he has to deliver.
Hence, I want us to win the Carabao Cup. I think that'll be a brilliant plan B, because if we are around abouts in that title race come February, winning that League Cup could be monumental for our season, because that will then give us, I'd say, the would you call it?
Momentum.
Sort of, yeah,
momentum.
That's what, the momentum, and it will sort of encourage us to get us over the line, won't it?
Well, if you look at it the other way around, I don't know if you guys, how old you guys would have been, but do you remember when we lost to Birmingham in the League Cup final?
Yeah, horrible.
And that absolutely derailed our season. It really, really did. Because but if you win that one, I wonder what would happen that season. I think you're right. Targeting the Carabao Cup is sensible, because I think it can be a catalyst for more. Right, either this season or going on, but certainly I think it will be a catalyst this season. But I'm afraid I disagree with AFC always. He was backed, Emery, 230 million.
He was backed, come on.
And he wasn't just...
And he didn't get sacked because of the language barrier.
No, that's absolute poppycock.
He was just crap.
He lost the dressing room. He lost the dressing room. Yeah, he lost the dressing room completely. The players down tools for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing 3 defensive midfielders at one point. Torreira as the 10. So he was rightly sacked, because the fans just called it enough is enough.
Yeah.
Because the football was horrendous, and we were too reliant on Aubameyang that season. He was the only one that was bailing him out, or else we would probably be where we were with Arteta in lockdown. Although we actually had Aubameyang at the time, but it didn't get the best out of him, to be fair. That's one thing I'll give Emery credit for. Like the signings, Martinelli, Saliba, fair enough. And I've given him his flowers because of that. But that doesn't take away the fact he wasn't back.
Well, also he introduced Smith Rowe and Saka. But in fairness to Arteta, we're talking about the youth development here. Well, he actually, has helped them go on. Now, I know Smith Rowe fell out of favour and was gone, but, Martinelli's had chances and has shown what he can do. Saka is obviously the superstar. And now Lewis Kelly and Wanyeri are coming through. So I think it's unfair to say he doesn't give them chances. But Emery was the man that gave them the chance.
Yeah, facts.
So I think you have to credit both Emery and Arteta for the, and the players themselves, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, come on, No, I wasn't Emery out at the time because it was his first season when he went 22 games unbeaten. But let's be honest, right? Look at the games we played. Bar from Tottenham. I mean, when did Arteta go 22 games unbeaten? Well, we must have gone on a crazy run when was it 2 seasons ago when we challenged him for the league for the first time in like God knows how long. We must have gone on a beat and run then because
after when we lost,
we lost one
Man
game
United, Old
until
Trafford.
February, did we not?
Obviously, we lost at Old Trafford. You remember the 3-1? I think after
Yeah,
that,
no, we didn't lose the game until February, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, even last season, we lost one game in the league last season in 2024. In 2024, obviously, you know.
Yeah, so look, I wasn't Emery out at the time. Like I was enjoying like what I was seeing, but it was clear that his luck ran out.
Yeah.
After, when do you think the wheels fell off? Do you reckon? I think
the Europa League final.
No, like which game in that 2018-19 season do you reckon the wheels fell off after that 22 game unbeaten run? Was it Liverpool 5-1?
What, in his first season you're on about?
Yeah, in his first season. Like, what was the result in that season where you think, yeah, the wheels have fallen off here?
Palace.
I need Seb's encyclopedia knowledge for the.
I mean, you know what? I took my mind back to Everton, you know, when we lost 1-0 as well. I think that was the game where the wheels fell off.
Palace as well when he played Jenkinson.
Oh, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, at least Arteta, right, he is willing to take these sort of games seriously. Like, you won't see Arteta sticking Jenkinson at right back and El Neni in midfield.
I don't think it was a question of not taking it seriously. I think it's a question of not sure what to do, so just trying.
But it was very arrogant at the time, wasn't he? Very, very, very arrogant. He thought, yeah, we're gonna slap Palace at the time, but
I think probably when it comes to arrogance, you know, Arteta might also have a similar issue when it comes to arrogance. But but yeah, I mean, I take your point, right? It's, you know,
I just think Emery quality manager, but just wrong club. If I'm being real.
Exactly right, Josh. Exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like, has he been producing any flying colours? I think Villa have been pretty poor so far this season. Yes, he's managing Villa.
I think he's done a good job at Villa. I think
he's done a brilliant job.
The step back is not a shock, right? I think, you know, Aston Villa have come a long way and they've stepped back this season because they suddenly got the Champions League. We saw Newcastle do it. No doubt we could well see Chelsea do it this season. I think probably less so because they got about 470 players. You know, I think they had a better base to build from. But Newcastle and Villa coming up through into the Champions League and not being able to cope was no shock. You know, to be blunt. But he's done a good job there.
Yeah.
Well, question for Rory and Dom. You're telling me if Emery had 800 mil to spend, you're telling me that Emery wouldn't have bottled a league title?
No, because I'll tell you why. He wouldn't even get us to a league title race in the first place.
I think Emery is capable.
200 million on crap.
I mean, here's his signings, right?
I mean, I really like Pepe, but that was it.
Here's his signings.
The rest of his 200 million on crap.
Here's his signings. Danny Ceballos.
Suarez is another one. His signing.
Dennis Ceballos was a loan, obviously. He spent 2.5 million on Suarez on loan. Steven Lichtsteiner was a free. Gabby Martinelli has obviously been a success for the money
spent. I forgot about
7 million
as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go up from the bottom in terms of money spent. Gendouzi, 8 million, but it was an absolute nutcase. David Luiz, what a star!
That's another one, David Luiz.
Socrates, 16 million euros. Then we start to get into the better signings. Bert Leno, obviously a good signing.
Yeah.
Kieran Tierney, good signing. It's unfortunate what's happened to him injuries. Lucas Torreira, again, good signing. You can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd say 5 months he was good, but then.
Well, it was personal issues, wasn't it? He just didn't settle in the UK, and you can't always predict that. You can't.
Was an issue.
I can't. I don't think it was attitude. He just wasn't happy. It's like Angel Di Maria when he went to Manchester United. Good player, excellent player. just didn't settle, did he? Like,
Yeah,
you can't always mitigate for that. It's a bit like signing a player that's never had injury history and then go and watch them get injured week after week. Like, it's like, oh God, you know. But you sign an injury-prone player, well, you're going to have to suck it up, mate, because it's going to happen, right? And then his others were William Saliba, obviously a good sign, but took time, and Nicolas Pepe. So it's not all bad, but it's very mixed.
and I swear he came out and said he wanted like Zaha, and he got Pepe.
He
Yeah,
did.
that's the only one.
That's where you've got to feel for him there. The only thing I would say is that players like Liechtenstein are on a free. Again, and I think I have to defend Emery to some extent here because I will defend Arteta for the same thing. The side wasn't great, and you're now looking at getting in your backup players. So he was the backup to Bellerin. Well, when you're not great, you're not going to get in, you know, Pete Carl Walker or something like that, are you? You know, Lauren's not coming in through the door. You're getting a backup, and you're going to have to take those risks. It becomes easier to get the players right when you get better. But you still have to get the players right. And by and large, Arsenal, as we've got better, have got better in the transfer market. The notable exception being Vieira. You know. But I don't think I agree. I think we lost Josh, but I don't agree that Arteta has bought crap. I think if you think he's bought crap, then
No, not Arteta, Emery.
Yeah, but I could be misunderstanding the comment here from Frankie saying, hold on, Arteta has bought crap. I think if he's bought crap, then you have to say he's working wonders with the squad. He can't be true. He can't have bought crap and then we criticise him for not being a good manager. You know, I just don't think those two statements are compatible.
There's another question. Under Emery and Arteta, Martinelli played better under Emery than Arteta. Do you agree? I disagree, actually. I mean, do I think Martinelli has regressed under Arteta? Yes, absolutely. But did Arteta get the best out of Martinelli? Was he bagging 15 goals under Emery?
I think Martinelli's an interesting one, right? Because I think if you look at
to be honest,
if you look at him 2 years ago, he was obviously excellent. But he is a player that needs space to operate in. He is at his best when, I mean, you play him against Tottenham every week because he's going to have half the field to run into. That's when he's at his best. Against low block sides, Martinelli isn't as effective, anywhere near as effective as when he has got space. And I think it's really interesting to go 2 years ago, he had his best ever season. And that was that frenetic season when teams just thought we were going to capitulate, which we did in the end. And that shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone. But they left more space. Last 2 seasons, they've taken us more seriously and they've left less space. And it's not a surprise to see Martinelli's numbers regress because of that. It's what he needs to do, and I don't know if he's capable of it as a player, is find a way to beat a player without just pace, with a trick or clever movement or incisive passes. I don't know if Martinelli can do that or not. Either way, it's a success because we spent €7 million or whatever it was on him, and we've got our return and some on that. But I don't know if he has that ability to do what Saka does, who doesn't require it on pace, or Leao, or these top wingers that can have a variety of ways to beat them. And I think
Leao is overrated.
I do too, but he's still a very good winger. No, I think he is a good. I think he's a really good winger.
I think Harvey Barnes is better than him. I'm not even trolling. I think Harvey Barnes is better than Leao.
I think that's up there with Patino's better than Moreno.
But, no, it's not. No, it's not.
But it's not quite that bad. But
I watch these players on the eye, and I think Harvey Barnes is definitely more clinical than Leao. I think the way he drives with the ball as well down the byline, better than Leao. I mean, I don't know why people rate him. What? Because he has a smile on his face every time he hooks one into the bottom bins.
But yeah, so I think that's as I say on Martinelli. I think that's why we've seen the regression, as it were, because I think of the way teams set up against us. I think Martinelli is a superstar at clubs finishing like 8th to 4th, 3rd. Sorry. I think when you're getting into those top 2, I think he becomes more of a squad option, and that's probably where his level's at. But I think he's progressed on from where he was. He's definitely developed. I think he would have developed under Emery too. So I think I think Frankie's right. In some ways, he's a one-trick pony, and he needs to learn more tricks. And that's why I think he's probably near his ceiling, and it's why his numbers have dropped off.
Yeah,
but I reckon it is the system. He's not a system player, Martinelli. He's someone that you know, you just want the shackles to be off. Like when the shackles are off, Martinelli is an unbelievable player, and we saw it 2 seasons ago what he's capable of.
I think you're partly right, but I also think it's the way teams play against him. To Frankie's point, right, he's a one-trick pony, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and some players can't progress. Theo Walcott, there was another one, right? I mean, I'm not, you know.
Questions, Dom and Rory. How are the top earners at the club? Our strikers on 550k a week combined have less goals combined than Chris Wood and Danny Welbeck. It's very embarrassing.
I can't tell whether that's a rhetorical question, to be honest with you. You might have to ask the manager about that one.
Yeah, look, we've said it continuously tonight. You know, can you upgrade them? Yes. Should this be Jesus' last season? Yes, no question. But I also think that, you know, am I replacing Jesus and Havertz with Wood and Welbeck? No. Do I think that will be the state of play at the end of the season? No, I don't. Like, I just don't think it is. But that's not to say we can't upgrade them. I don't think at any point anyone has said that they're not upgradable. And Arsenal should be looking to do that.
Anyway, I don't think that is true, is it? Have they both got less goals combined than Chris Wood and Danny Welbeck?
I don't know.
We counted all competitions.
Jesus has got 6 and Havertz has got 11, so it's 17 goals between the two of them.
Yeah.
All competitions. All competitions. I don't know what Woods and Welbeck have got. I think there's probably some truth to Arsenal there's some truth to Arsenal being too snobby to buy Chris Wood, but also I don't think Chris Wood fits the system either, right?
No.
Let's get. By the way, they've got 16 combined in the Premier League.
Who have Welbeck
Chris Wood and Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, so that would be more than Havertz and Jesus in the league, because I did their total.
Yeah,
I just happened to know
but
their
in all
total.
competitions, Havertz and Jesus have got more. So
I just knew their all competitions number off the top of my head.
Yeah, let's get some predictions, guys, for Ipswich game. I'm going simply 2-0 to Arsenal, clean sheet.
We always pick the same. That's what I was going to go for.
I'm going to
go 3-0.
3-0.
I'll change. You know.
You know what? I think I'm going to change as well. I'm going to say 3-1.
3-1. Okay.
3-1 Arsenal.
Okay, there we go. All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Dom, I'll start with you, mate, because you're on the big screen. You want to shout your channel and the content you got coming up as well, my friend. And by the way, you're smashing it. Keep it up. You're killing it over there, man. So
no, cheers, thank you. I've been blown away. I mean, I know I'm not the biggest channel yet, but it's 5 weeks old tomorrow, I think. Might be 6 weeks old tomorrow. 6 weeks old tomorrow. But Arsenal domination. No idea what's coming up this week. I will put 2 videos out on something. I never overly plan them. I just think of something I want to talk about. Press record and put it up online. So I've no idea what's coming up. There'll be an Ipswich preview for definite that I will pre-record way in advance of it coming out, because I'm not going to do it on Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Yeah. I've got family commitment. So if something happens between that, will obviously be an issue that I will not be addressed necessarily. But I'll put some bits out this week. But thanks to all those who have supported me so far. It's been real fun. Real fun. I genuinely staggered that it's done what it's done in the first few weeks. I know it's not massive, but hey, as Erling Haaland would say, I'm staying humble.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Rory, bro, you got any content coming up yourself on your channel?
I mean, I want to do a watch on for the Arsenal Ipswich game, but it's around Christmas time, isn't it? So yeah, it's kind of difficult. I don't know what comes around, innit?
Yeah, that's fair enough, man. That's fair enough. Obviously, guys, on my channel, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're doing Ipswich preview, and then maybe some transfer news as well throughout. Obviously, I won't be live Christmas Day, of course. Maybe not Box Day either, but we'll be back for the match day on 27th, guys. Ipswich. So looking forward to the game. Hopefully, I'll be there.
You going to the game?
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh,
My
nice.
My uncle's got tickets, but it's like he's not messaged me back yet, so I'm not heard from him. So I'm getting a bit worried.
Oh,
but,
are you sitting at the Ipswich end again?
Nah. I'm meant to be in the clock end, man, which I'm buzzing about. So,
Oh,
My first ever game at Highbury was in the clock end.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who did we win though?
No, it was Arsenal 0, Coventry 0, and
Oh.
Ian Wright broke Steve Ogrizovich's nose.
Oh wow.
If I remember rightly, it was a 50-50 ball, and Ogrizovic went down for it, and Wright he got there first, and Wright's boot went into his face. You know, a nasty one, but the ball was there. Like both players went for the ball, and it just happened that Ogrizovic's face, got kicked. But
Yeah.
it was one of those horrible ones where you just saw Ogrizovic's head just go backwards. And like in like graphic cartoons where you see the bloods go splattering.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you couldn't really see it, but you can almost just imagine the blood going.
That's up. Yeah. Yeah, of course, guys. Merry Christmas to everyone. The chat, Dom, Rory. Hope you guys have a great Christmas.
Yeah,
And
you too.
I think we'll talk before New Year on. I don't know. When's Monday? Is it the 30th?
7 days time, mate.
Today? Yeah, when's Monday?
Comes around roughly once a week. Find it between Sunday and Tuesday.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 30th. So yeah, we'll do a podcast.
It is the 30th.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast on 30th. So and then that'll be the last one of the year, of course, or 2024. But,
Would it?
Yeah.
Sure.
This joker, man. What a joker. But yeah, guys, the chat. Have a great Christmas, guys. Dom and Rory as well. Hope you guys have a really good Christmas. And yeah, we're getting out of here, people. Take care, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. And